I think it's time to finally talk about month 6. Dun dun dun! Yeah. Month 6 was hard. Month 6 was incredibly hard, easily the hardest month, which I did not expect. I definitely predicted that it would be harder at the beginning and just get easier as you go, as you adjust. And mostly that was true, except for month 6. Month 6 really threw a wrench in there. Something to keep in mind as I tell you about month 6 is that I switched brands. I was taking a generic form of isotretinoin called Absorbica all 5 months prior. And then I switched to a brand called Amnestine for the final month. And the reason I did this was because my insurance deductible wasn't met. So I switched to another brand that was supposedly cheaper. Spoiler alert, it was not. It was literally the same price, if not maybe more. So there could be reasons for my side effects in month 6 that have to do with that have to do with switching. I don't know for sure, and there really isn't any science to back up the fact that it should have been such a drastic change. But it's just something to note and to keep in mind. So almost immediately upon starting my month 6 at 60 milligrams, I noticed an anxiety that I have never felt before. It turned on like a light, so fast, so unexpected, like I went to sleep, I woke up and I had anxiety. I am not accustomed to this feeling. It's not something I'm used to, so it was very strong and uncomfortable. I felt like something was wrong with me. I went to the doctor because I was worried that something was wrong. Turns out everything was fine. We did blood tests, we did everything. I was having trouble eating for the first couple weeks because I was so anxious. I lost like 10 pounds, which is a lot, and not in a good way. I found myself very fearful. I found myself very worried, and it really just came on out of nowhere. There is no explanation for why I was feeling this way. When I began feeling the anxiety, I immediately called up my therapist and said, I need to meet, like we need to meet. Something is wrong, something is weird. And we started breaking it down, and it was very acute, very severe at first. Probably because I wasn't accustomed to the feeling. But my therapist did say, she said, you know, it's hard to pick blame or put blame onto something. I mean, it seems like it would be the Accutane because that's the only thing that changed, but that's not necessarily true, you know. Anxiety onset for women is in their mid-20s. I'm 26. So that could be part of this. I want to say that even now I don't know if the anxiety was brought on by the Amnestine, the isotretinoin, any of it. I do believe that it probably was at least triggered by it, and since stopping, I've seen it taper down, and it's definitely not as extreme, but also I've gotten used to it. And all of this is scary to hear. Like, I know that this is one of my biggest concerns when I started Accutane. I was really worried about the mental side effects, which I experienced none of until month 6. It felt very uncomfortable. I mean, really the word that I always come back to with explaining my anxiety is uncomfortable. I talked to my dermatologist about this, and I said, I am feeling an extreme side effect here, and I would really like to stop as soon as I can. Because when we had initially started the 6th month, we said, okay, I'm gonna do 60 milligrams, and that's gonna put me a little bit over my cumulative dose, which is the dose that you should take based on your weight total. She says she likes to go a little above and beyond, and it's different for every dermatologist, so always check in with yours to see what they consider the cumulative dose, because it's different. So I knew this, so I contacted her and I said, I do not want to go above and beyond. I want to just hit my cumulative dose, and I want to stop. So she said she was fine with that. It cut the month down from 30 days to 18 days. At 18 days, I would reach my final dose. And you do want to make sure that you hit your cumulative dose, because if you don't, there are higher chances of relapse, there's higher chances that your acne will come back, things like that. I didn't want to go to day 18 because all 18 days were incredibly uncomfortable with very severe side effects, not only mentally, but of course my lips were very chapped. I had my rashes, those hand rashes, I had them all over my hands. My joints were kind of achy, which I hadn't experienced up until this point. The fatigue was out of control. I was just feeling it all. If I was feeling all of these side effects, like maybe it was the brand, or maybe it was just something about the way it was hitting my system at that time that made it feel really extreme. I don't know. I don't know, I'll never know. And that part is really hard. Like, that's probably the hardest part for me, is that I will never know if all of this happened because of the Accutane. Once I hit day 18, I stopped immediately. I did not want to go over. I just wanted to just do the bare minimum. And the side effects slowly started to fade, but it took about a month to really fade away. And the anxiety is still present in my life today, over 2.5 months later. Now, I have to say, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. I live in New York City, right in the epicenter of the global pandemic. There's a lot of stress factors going on. Work is hard. Theater is completely closed, like, for the rest of the year. And there's just a lot of uncertainty right now, which can definitely be leading to the anxiety. But it is something that I never felt before month 6 of Accutane. And now it's like a very real part of my life. So I don't want to scare people, but I want to be honest. I want to share my story to see if anybody else has experienced a similar thing. It was scary for me. I was really scared. I wanted to stop. And the only reason I didn't was because I was so close to the end. So if you're out there going through these feelings, experiencing depression or anxiety, I see you. It is really hard. And if you think you can manage it with the help of a therapist or a counselor or somebody that's with you, then that's amazing. But I know I could not have gotten through those last 18 days without my therapist. Like, I would not have done it. I think I would have stopped. And with the support of my husband and of people in my life. So just know that it can be very, very extreme, and often it is. Was it worth it? Well, I love my skin now. I don't know if losing one thing to gain another thing is something I would consider worth it, but would I recommend it? I would recommend it to someone struggling with deep cystic acne that made them really upset, made them depressed. I would still recommend it. And also, I know that side effects are different for everyone. So, you know, a person I recommend it to might not experience what I did. It's really different person to person. It was like the ink stain on a pretty mild 6 months. It just became all I thought about, you know? And so now when I think back to Accutane, I'm like, oh, that's what caused my anxiety. Which is probably unfair. It's probably not even true. But it is what I have in my head, so it's going to be something that's going to be hard to shake off, for sure. I started breaking out again almost 2 weeks later after I stopped Accutane, and I still break out. So I'll definitely talk about some more things that I've been doing to treat my hyperpigmentation, treat my scars, and also treat my breakouts, because I have hormonal acne, and even with isotretinoin, it might not go away. That's a warning that you get when you start, and my acne is a million times better. Is it completely gone? Do I have like perfect porcelain skin? Nope, I don't. Still getting breakouts here and there all the time, but is it better? 100%. It's a lot. This drug is intense and it's extreme. I want to be honest and share with you the truth of my story, but I don't want to necessarily defer you from doing this or scare you, because it really was a positive thing in my life even if I am anxious now because of it. There was another thing that I have to bring up that I thought in my mind when I was having this anxiety. I said, something's wrong, like something's wrong with my head, something's wrong with the drug. And there's this rumor on the internet, and I know some of you think it because you message me about it all the time and it stresses me out. There is this rumor or this story online where Accutane can affect your brain. It can cause swelling in the brain. And so I went to my dermatologist and I was like, is this what's happening? Is that why I'm feeling this anxiety? Is something going on? Do I have swelling in my brain? And she says, that does happen. It has happened before. It is extremely rare, and we know exactly what causes it. It is caused by the pairing of an isotretinoin drug and an antibiotic, such as doxycycline, or something that lowers your blood pressure. So there is a very specific cocktail of drugs that you have to take that causes that reaction in the brain, and I was not engaging in any of those things. So I felt a lot better because I was like, can it just happen like to anyone at any time? She's like, no, it's very specific. You have to like pair these two things together for a very long time, and it can cause that. So I said, okay, I feel a lot better. My brain's fine. There's no swelling in my brain. My health is fine. It's just a feeling. It's a feeling, which is what anxiety is. And we are not our feelings. We are not our thoughts. We are the person behind that that's looking at the thoughts, hearing the thoughts, seeing the thoughts. It's just been a process. It's been a journey, and it's been hard. Month 6 sucked ass. Please share with me your stories, and in my next video I'm going to talk about what I'm doing to treat my scars, my hyperpigmentation. This is a question that so many of you have. I get this question like 10 times a day. So I will definitely share with you some tips, but right now I'll just tell you, like, get on the Banish Acne Scars ship, because their products have really been like doing very good things for me. I've been using a lot of Banish products. The Banish oil has been great, the fighter gel has been great, and I've also been using Clear Start, which has been helping to manage the breakouts because they have been there. So the journey is not over. Just because Accutane is over does not mean my skin journey is over. Damn. Ain't that the truth? Y'all are great. Thanks for being here.